Welcome back, everyone. Feels good to be back in Emacs here, but we're not going to be talking about Emacs itself. We're going to look at some AI thesis generation. Um, as some of you may or may not know, my educational background was I started out studying film and media, something like that, and then went back and got an English degree. Took a break for a while, so I kind of have sort of a minor in film and a major in English, and I was playing around with ChatGPT to see how it does doing, sadly, what they teach us to do in university, at least when I was there many years ago. And it does it quite well. It makes you kind of wonder if they just basically trained us to be automatons, or if they were really teaching us how to think, or just to spit out what our professors wanted us to say. So that's what I tested with ChatGPT, and honestly, it does a pretty good job just spitting out what you need to, to, I guess, to kind of give your professor what they want to see. Obviously, if you want to learn properly and really get something out of it, you want to challenge yourself and not just spit out what the AI can give you. But I think we're going to have some fun with it anyway. So the prompt was, I asked ChatGPT to give me an essay outline on the theme of individualism in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. As you know, this is a classic horror movie. It's one of my favorites. And it wasn't something, honestly, that we got around to watching in film school. Our professors, they were more political, so we watched a lot more political films. But a Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a fun movie, and let's go over what it spit out here for me. So introduction, brief overview of the film and its significance in horror cinema. All right, sounds fair enough. Here's the thesis statement. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre explores the theme of individualism through its portrayal of the main character's struggle to assert their independence in the face of societal pressure and conformity. I think I would hope that your professor might catch that and say, I don't know if you really did your homework here. And here's the second section, in which we talk about the conformist society. Description of the oppressive societal norms and expectations depicted in the film. It's interesting. It seems to be about some hippies who are driving through Texas, and they decide to check out an old house, and some bad things happen to them. Analysis of the characters' reactions to these norms, particularly Sally's initial compliance and subsequent rebellion. That's my favorite. That's the most interesting. So Sally's initial compliance and subsequent rebellion. I suppose the initial compliance would be when she is bound and bent over the big bucket, and Grandpa is trying to knock her out with a hammer and keeps failing. So that, I guess that's their, or maybe when they have her bound at the dinner table, maybe that's her initial compliance. And then subsequent rebellion, she breaks free, jumps through the window, and runs to the road with Leatherface chasing her with the chainsaw, and she hails down a truck. So that's her rebellion, I guess. And now we go to the family unit. This part's a little more interesting because I think it's a little closer to what you might actually have in an essay about the film. Examination of the dysfunctional family as a metaphor for the dangers of blindly following tradition and authority. Discussion of the character of Leatherface as a product of his family's oppressive influence. I don't know. The film doesn't really go into Leatherface's upbringing and what got him to the point where he puts on a mask made of skin and decides to chop people up with a chainsaw. But that could be part of it. The theme of the family is kind of definitely there in the movie. So I don't think it's just pulling something out of thin air there, like with Sally's initial compliance and rebellion. The individualistic hero. Description of the character of Franklin as a symbol of the pitfalls of individualism taken to the extreme. He does seem to be kind of a complaining jerk through much of the movie, and then I mean, the pitfall of individualism is he gets chainsawed in his wheelchair. Analysis of the character of Sally as a model of individualistic heroism, who fights back against oppression and forges her own path. Yeah, I could see that happening. Yeah. Conclusion, summary of the key points made in the essay. Of course, you got to do that. Reflection on the significance of the theme of individualism in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, both in the context of the film and broader cultural discourse. So you see, it does really good with, you know, the academic jargon that you got to use in your college essays. Pretty good. I'm not making fun of the AI, you know, with and how it kind of guesses at it takes elements from the film and tries to sort of work them into your college writing level analysis. So I mean, it's definitely impressive. This one is a little more interesting because I think this is a little closer to what I actually think is a theme in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, kind of the disillusionment of that post 1960s era, where people kind of thought the big ideas of the 1960s and the experimentation and the breaking of the societal norms was going to lead to this enlightened society, but instead the 70s, at least here in the States, for my audience who may be outside the States, the 1970s here in the United States were like a time of kind of stagnation, and there was a lot of disappointment, and it wasn't a very good time in many ways. A lot of good music though, and some very interesting movies. Culturally interesting time. So here is an outline for an essay on the theme of disillusionment in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Introduction to brief overview of the film and its significance in horror cinema, of course. Here's your thesis statement. Texas Chainsaw Massacre explores the theme of disillusionment through its portrayal of characters whose expectations of society and the world are shattered by the brutal and nihilistic horrors they encounter. That's pretty darn good. That's pretty close to what I might put, or I might have put in an essay when I was a student. So yeah, not bad. They kind of get mugged by reality a little bit. I think that's part of it. Description of the characters' initial expectations of society and their place within it. Well, you'd kind of have to go a bit, like the film itself doesn't give you too much to go on there, but you know, you can kind of make some assumptions about the characters, I think. I actually haven't seen the movie in a while. Should watch it again. Analysis of the ways in which these expectations are shattered by the breakdown of societal norms, particularly through the violence perpetrated by Leatherface and his family. Not bad. The loss of innocence. Examination of the character's loss of innocence as they're confronted with the brutal reality of the world around them. Yeah, that's getting pretty close. Discussion of the character's struggle to come to terms with this loss and its impact on their psyche. Well, yeah, I mean, Sally looks like she's gone pretty crazy at the end of it when she finally gets rescued. Yeah. Analysis, or this section called the failure of authority. Analysis of the failure of authority figures to protect the characters from harm, particularly the police and other representatives of the state. That's a bit of a reach because there's nothing really like that in the movie. There's no police or you know, nobody like really finds out what's going on. It kind of takes place over a pretty short time span, and the authorities don't really get involved. So that's a bit of a reach. Discussion of the character's disillusionment with authority and the implications of this disillusionment for society at large. So yeah, that you'd have to be doing a little bit of fart huffing to get that far, but yeah, not bad. Examination of the character's search for meaning in the face of the nihilistic horrors they encounter. Not bad, bit of a stretch. Analysis of the character's struggle to find a sense of purpose or agency in a world that seems devoid of meaning. No, these two sections go a little bit far out. I wouldn't say that you'd have much in the film to go on there to make those claims. And then, of course, your conclusion, a summary of the key points made in the essay, reflection on the significance of the theme of disillusionment in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, particularly in relation to broader cultural and social issues related to violence, authority, and the search for meaning in a chaotic world. Yeah, pretty good. I think, yeah, to make some of the broader claims, you might have to go outside of the film a little bit, and you would have to look at kind of the history of what was going on at that time, and kind of work that in, and how that might have affected the attitudes and the sensibilities of the filmmakers and the actors and things like that. So yeah, you could probably do it, but that's where you're going to have to put on your thinking cap and do a little work, and the AI may not be able to do it all for you. So yeah, pretty cool. This was a fun exercise. I think there's some interesting resources there with AI in terms of helping students if it's not just doing all their homework for them, and I think I would hope that most professors would catch at this point, they might be able to tell how much of a student's writing is their own work and how much is generated for them. But we'll see. So that's about it. I'm going to leave it there. And if you guys have any questions or comments, be sure to let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you all next time.